Hello everyone, this is part 16 of What If Naruto Meets the Nine Tails Early, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. It was a quiet day in Konoha. After dawn there was a tall blonde man walking toward the Hokage Tower. Naruto had changed over the years. No more was he the loud, brash bright orange wearing genin that he was at the age of 12. Now almost 8 years later he was a loud brash mostly black wearing jonin. With some dull orange still on his uniform, he just happened to like the color even after he realized that a bright orange was probably not the best color for a ninja to have on. Now a Jonin, it had not really taken a long time to get to this point. He had been named Jonin at the age of 16, the first in his graduating class of 9. It was a disappointment, somewhat, to him when he returned to the village after 2.5 years of training to find that he was the only one left in his age group that was still a genin. He had brushed it off after all. He realized that it probably would have happened as he was gone for almost 3 years. A month after he returned he was given the Chunin exam once again and passed that. Another thing that raised his spirits was that he had achieved it on his second try while his friends had all taken 3 tries to do so, with the exception of Shikamaru, who was one of the few rookie to ever pass that exam on his first try. The Chunin exams are administered twice a year, every 6 months. The Jonin exams are done once a year. Due to the demanding qualities of that exam it cannot be done very frequently. Therefore Naruto was a Chunin for 6 months and then took the next exam and passed that on his first time. Now at the age of 19 all of his friends were of Jonin rank with the exception of 2. The first being Shikamaru, who had taken a liking to being an academy Chunin sensei and never took the Jonin exam, that and he was much too lazy to bother. The second of his friends to not be a Jonin, in rank at least, was Sasuke, who returned to the village severely injured after finally tracking down and defeating his brother. Sasuke was placed on probation and forbidden from taking the exams for 2 years for deserting the village. He had worked hard to gain the trust of the village back, and truth be told only his friendship to Naruto and Sakura saved him from a much harsher fate, Naruto being on good terms with the Hokage almost like a little brother and Sakura being her personal apprentice. Naruto had also managed to defeat the Akatsuki. The final battle with the leader Pain had almost killed him. He had to draw on the power of the demon in him and it took the power of 6 tails to defeat that man god. 3 people went to fight Pain: Naruto, Yamato and Sakura. Yamato went, as he was the only one who could have possible helped Naruto calm down after the 4th tail came out. It proved more challenging with the 6th tail, and Sakura had her work see out for her once she had to heal Naruto once he had passed out from the strain of the fight. Naruto, to his credit, has never used the demon power since that day, but he had finally done it. He had stopped the ambitions of this group and therefore there were no longer any reasons to draw on the power. But it wasn't only the reason to fight to protect himself and the rest of the world from them. He had also avenged the old man Jiraiya, his and his father's old sensei. For Naruto also knew whom his parents were. He had been told after he was named Chunin when Tsunade decided that it was time to let him know of his true past. He took it quite well considering that it was his father who sealed the demon in him, but he always respected the 4th. He was also shocked to find that he was named for a character in one of Jiraiya's books. Not really happy to be named after AL book, Tsunade gave him a copy of this book and he was pleased to find that this was not AL book that Kakashi seemed to cherish, but rather a very well written book that Jiraiya had given up on, viewing himself as not that type to write those books. Breaking from his thoughts he continued walking to the tower and stopped at his favorite spot, the ramen shop. Greeting the old man and his daughter that ran that shop, Naruto, surprisingly only ordered 1 bowl of beef ramen. As he was leaving he ran into another of his friends. Hinata was also walking from the tower. Naruto was impressed with Hinata's progress in the past and her promotion to Jonin was well deserved. "Hey Hinata," Naruto called out. Hinata looked up blushing as Naruto still being kind of dense, but not when it came to her anymore. He had realized what the blush had meant and also realized that he had similar feelings, however years of being ignored and not that social had hindered him when it came to speaking to her. He also took into account of the demon that was still within him and there were only some of his friends that know of its existence. Unfortunately Hinata was not one of them. As it is true that she had been made Jonin but Tsunade and Naruto but decided to keep it from any others in his generation and after until Naruto told them himself. He was not looking forward to telling him, especially her, as he would have to tell her before he even tried anything. It wouldn't be fair to her as she didn't know, got too attached and then hated him for the demon. So he just kept up a friendly face and cheerful attitude, afraid of upsetting her or offending. Hello Naruto-kun, stuttered Hinata. So where you headed? Asked Naruto. I have a mission, I will be leaving for a couple days, responded the shy Konochi. Cool, said Naruto, what kind of mission? Oh, it is just a simple transport mission, she said. Okay, well I'll see you when you get back, okay? Well, hang out, that sound good. I'd like that, Naruto-kun, she said, this time no stutter. Cool, well I gotta go, the old lady is expecting me soon. He said, and with that took off to the tower. Smiling at Naruto's slight on the Hokage, she kept walking as well. Naruto made it the tower and was heading to the door when she saw Sakura heading out, papers in her hands. She would have waved to him if it were not for the paperwork. Hi Naruto, she said, I'd like to talk but I've got to get over to the hospital and finish filing the paperwork and then, well, maybe after that we can talk out. I'm going to go to Sasuke's house after work. Yeah, okay Sakura, I'll see you later. Naruto entered the Hokage's office saying, I hope you don't get too attached to that chair as it will be mine soon. He started but stopped before he could refer to her and an old lady or grandma. He stopped as there were others in the room aside from Tsunade and Shizune. Also standing before the desk were Shino and Neji, both looking at Naruto expressionless, or so Naruto assumed with Shino if he could see his face. Tsunade then spoke up, I have called you three here as I need the three of you to take on a new mission of sorts. What kind of mission? Neji asked. Tsunade smiled, you three will be taking on your own three-person genin team. We are getting our own genin teams? Asked Naruto. That's right, replied the Hokage. I figured that the three of you would be ideal for it. The teams have been decided and here is the info on each. She said, handing each of the Jonin a file. You are to meet with them after the last day today at the academy. The three took the files and looked through them. In Naruto's file there was Ankako Maita, who was the top of the class this year and much was expected of the boy. There was also Hyuga Hana, a main member female of the Hyuga clan. She is considered average in most aspects but very intelligent and outspoken. I guess it doesn't run in the family. Naruto thought, thinking of Hinata and Neji, both of whom are quite out of reserved even since their academy days. The last was the worst student in the class, though if Naruto was any indication that could count for very little, was Inuzuka Kemonoi, member of the clan Kiba, is from using dogs in their fighting. This kid but be a relative of Kiba. He thought the file info on him also had information on the boy's various pranks and mischief, which it is said that he has used the dog Kuromaru to help him in planning and those pranks. At this Naruto felt a bit of jealousy as he always had to do that himself but still smirked at that. I see that you gave the top rookie and the troublemaker, Naruto said, and a Hyuga. Hey Neji, he said, turning to other Jonin, do you know this kid, Hana? Neji looked over, that is Hinata-sama's second cousin, her mother is the cousin of that girl's father. And yes Naruto, I gave you the best and the worst ones in the class, the worst because I thought it fitting for you, she said, smirking while Naruto scowled. And the best one as it is tradition to pair the two to even out the team. Right, okay, not a problem, said Naruto. Well you three, it should be soon that you meet with them, the class is almost over, so get going. Hi, the three said and disappeared from the office. Naruto was walking from the tower to the academy and wondering how long that he should make them wait. Should he have them wait a few hours like Kakashi did to them or just go there now? Well, I kinda want to piss off that Inuzuka kid. If he is a prankster like I was, then I'd like to see what he tries to pull for being late. However, deciding against that, he went straight to the school. Best not start off on the wrong foot, he thought. He got to the school and went to the classroom where he saw his old sensei Aruka and the other teacher being Shikamaru. Knocking on the door, they looked up and Shikamaru turned to his class and stated in a bored voice, all right Team 10, your new sensei is here. Three students got up and walked to the door. Seeing Naruto, the dog ninja boy's jaw dropped, then a grin lit up his face. He ran to the door and opening it as quickly as he could yelled out, oh man, you're Uzumaki Naruto, Kohona's second flash, aren't you? Yeah kid, Naruto smiled, thinking of his new name that he gained after mastering his father's old teleportation technique. Looking down, he thought, I could get to like this kid. You are like my hero, the Inuzuka exclaimed. I heard the stuff you used to do and got inspired. The pranks and stunts you did were awesome. Is it true that you vandalized the Hokage monument? Yeah, that true, said Naruto. Actually, it was Iruka-sensei that caught for that one. The other two walked up. You know Inuzuka, Ankiko Maita said. Only you would be inspired by his being an older prankster, you loser. Shut the hell up, Ankiko team, said the dog Nin. Whatever. Damn, this is familiar, thought Naruto. He looked over at the Hyuga and saw a miniature Hinata. Damn, she looks just like her when she was that age, but there were some differences. Hana was laughing at Kemenwa antics, but not in the mean, you're an idiot, way, but rather the kind of way that she seems to like him, that he makes her laugh. She was not blushing or shyly pushing her fingers together in that way that Hinata does when she's nervous, but just happy and confidently enjoying this scene. Naruto then said, okay guys, we'll meet on the roof and get to know each other. With that he disappeared. The three genin went up to the roof where Naruto was waiting. Okay, so now that we are alone, let's start. Tell me a bit about yourselves. Likes, dislikes, that sort of thing. Hell'll go first. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, otherwise known as the Second Flash. I love ramen and my friends. I would protect them with my life, and I know they would do the same. My dream is to be Hokage and have nobody vandalize my face when it is up on that monument. At this the Inuzuka smirked as though he was getting a good idea. Don't even think about it, kid, Naruto said, smiling. It's harder than it looks. Well then I'll go next, said Kemenoi. I like playing and training with Kuromaru. He motions to the black dog in his lap, who happily barks, wagging his tail and looking around. I want to be a Jonin like my dad and my cousin Kiba, and to surpass Naruto-sensei as this village's greatest prankster. Okay, that was good, said Naruto, and pointing at Maita said, you next. Well, my name is Ankiko Maita. I have hobbies and goals, none of which are anybody's business but my own. That was informative, said Naruto, and motioning to the girl said, and you? My name is Hyuga Hana. I like my cousins Hanabi and Hinata. My hobbies are training and mastering the Juken style. My goal for the future is to unite my clan and finally get rid of that seal that is driving everyone apart. That is an admirable goal, said Naruto, and I hope that you do manage to achieve that. Well, that's all for today. We will meet again tomorrow and have a survival exercise, so meet me at Training Grounds 15 tomorrow at 6 am. Oh, he said as he turned to leave, don't eat any breakfast, you'll only throw up. Smiling, he jumped from the roof and disappeared into the street. What the hell did he mean by that? Wondered Kemenoi aloud. Naruto found himself walking down the street, vaguely thinking to visit the ramen stand when he was spotted by his old sensei Kakashi. Yo, Naruto, Kakashi called out, what you doing walking around? Not much, he replied, thinking of getting some ramen and what I might do to those kids tomorrow. What's that? Oh, you didn't hear. I was given a genin team to train. And you are going to be giving them a test tomorrow? Asked Kakashi, going to go with the bell test. I think I might have to, but I might revamp it a bit. You know, add my own spin to it, Naruto said. It was early morning and the sun was just starting to rise. The three new genin were just starting to reach the training grounds that their sensei had told them to meet at the day prior. As instructed, none of them had eaten any breakfast and all three of them were still half asleep. They sat in a circle and waited for their new sensei. Naruto woke up about an hour after dawn. After making himself some instant ramen, he set out. Walking slowly in the general direction of the training grounds, he decided to take it slow and have them wait as long as possible. He knew that they would have to wait for him, but did not want them to angered at him, even though this was all part of the exam. As he walked, he saw another of his friends also seemingly wandering around. Spotting him, Naruto waved and called out, "Hey Sasuke team." Smiling, he walked over. Dope, Sasuke replied. Who the hell do you think you are calling dope, team? Who the hell do you think you are calling team, dope? The two just stared at each other when Naruto bust out into a grin. Sasuke just smirked. So Sasuke, did you hear? Asked Naruto. I was given a genin team to train. Well, said Sasuke, I feel bad for those little gaki. I mean, how are they going to be successful when they have such a poor sensei? Your insults will have little effect on me, you Chunin bastard. So where are they? Probably at the training grounds, smiled Naruto. I told them to meet me there at dawn. Oh, so you're doing it that way, huh? Well, I kinda wanna see what it's like to be on the other side of that, you know. He said, so hurry up and make Jonin and then you can harass the little brats as well. Well, said Sasuke, I'll see you later. Don't keep those kids waiting too long, you know. Right, I'll see you later. With that, Naruto and Sasuke parted ways. Naruto started heading to the training grounds. Traveling as slowly as he was, and stopping at the war memorial to pay his respects to Jiraiya, it took him another half-hour to get there. When he finally reached his destination, he saw the three kids there almost asleep and obviously hungry and angry. Smirking, he appeared in front of them. Hey, what's up? At this, the three snapped awake and glared at him. Hyuga Hana spoke up first. What the hell? We've been waiting here for almost 2 hours. Oh, said Naruto, I got turned around on my way here and then lost on the road of life. At this, the three were seething and Kuromaru growled. Naruto just smiled pleasantly. So you are here to see if you can really last as a genin team. The task I will set is very simple. I have 2 bells that you 3 have to get before noon. Get a bell and you pass, don't get one and you go back to the academy. Oh, and you don't get any lunch. With that, Naruto pulled out several bento boxes and the students started to salivate, all 3 thinking the same thing. That's why he told us to not eat any breakfast. Naruto then placed the 2 bells on the ground and form a ram seal. Kage Bunshin, he said, and 2 shadow clones appeared in a puff of smoke beside him. He bent down and picked up the bells and handing one to each clone, he turned to the students. This should make it a bit fairer. These clones are about a quarter of my true power and therefore should be easier to K. Your objective is to land a blow on them enough to dispel them and claim the bell. But wait, sensei, said Kemonoi, there are only 2 bell and they're of us. At this, Kuromaru barked, all right, 4 of us, and you said that if we don't get one then we go back to the academy. That's right, Naruto smiled. But that's impossible, said Maita, finally speaking up. That would make a 2-person genin team, and who ever heard of that? While it is true that that is not that common, it is not unheard of, said Naruto. Plus, if there are only 2 of you, then I could focus more of my energy properly training those 2. With that, he disappeared, leaving the 3 genin, 1 dog, and 2 clones. The clones smiled and took off into the trees. The 3 genin were left looking upset. Maita said, to hell with this, I'm not going to be the one to go back to the academy. And he left after one of the clones. Kemonoi smirked as he left and Hana asked, what's so funny? We have to work together, he said. How can we do that when one of us will have to go back to the academy? Maybe 2 of you shouldn't work together, letting the other go, said Hana. Have you ever heard of a 2-person genin team? It never happens or never happened. The Hokage will not allow it. Either we all pass or none of us do, replied the Inuzuka. But sensei said, yeah, you're gonna trust a guy who told us to be here at dawn and then shows up 2 hours late? Kemonoi interrupted. Okay, said Hana, let's go find Maita and get those bells then. Naruto, who was watching from the trees, smiled, thinking to himself, well, the last is the first to figure it out. But not that surprising considering the Inakusa clan to understand teamwork, and he managed to convince Hana. While wondering if he would be able to convince Maita the same and the 3 could pull it off, Naruto suddenly felt the memories of a dispelled clone. Well, that Maita kid is good, he took out the clone fast. At that, Maita walked back into the clearing holding a bell and sat down next to the other 2 who were looking at him in shock that he got one. He looked up. What? I told you I wouldn't be left behind. Naruto then appeared in front of the 3 and smiling he said, you all pass. The 3 looked incredulous and he explained, well, Maita actually got a bell and that took some skill to best me at that, and the 2 of you, waving to the others, understand the importance of teamwork, so you all pass. The 3 genin looked relieved, or at least Kemonoi and Hana. Maita simply looked bored and Naruto said, well, I want the 3 of you to meet at the Hokage Tower tomorrow at 8 AM and well get our first mission. Till then, bye, and he disappeared. Naruto was heading back to the tower and saw Sakura running to the hospital from the tower. Naruto, noticing a slight urgency, decided to follow. When he got to the hospital, he heard one of the nurses talking to Sakura. They brought her in a few minutes ago. She is severely exhausted. Her chakra, there are numerous minor injuries plus a broken rib and some slight B loss. She is still slightly lucid but needs treatment soon. Sakura sighed, looking the chart over. All this on a simple delivery mission. Who would have thought that Hinata would be ambushed? Naruto's face went white as the bee drained from it. Hinata. How is that possible? I thought it was a simple mission. He thought. He walked up to Sakura as she noticed him. She said, did you hear? He simply nodded and said, yeah. Sakura looked sadly at Naruto but said, "Don't worry, she has pulled through worse than this." "Yeah, I know, I was just worried. She is a friend, but now that you are taking care of her I know she will be fine." He smiled a bit, not his usual grin but a sad smile. Naruto said, "Is she awake?" The nurse spoke up, "She is drifting in and out, not ready for visitors. I'm sorry, Uzumaki-san." "I'll wait then," he replied, and seating himself down he waited for over an hour, not moving from his spot, slight wondering why he was sitting here but again knowing the answer to that. After an hour the door opened and Hana, Neji and Hanabi walked in. Hana, seeing Naruto, went to him, "Sensei, why are you here?" "Oh, hi there, Hana, I'm just concerned for a friend." At that Sakura came out of the room and walked up to the four, smiling. "She will be fine, it was not as serious as the charts made it seem." At this they all were immediately relieved. "Can she see visitors?" asked Neji. "Yes," replied Sakura. Naruto then got up to go into the room and Sakura grabbed his arm, preventing him. "Naruto, I'm sorry but perhaps just family for now, you should wait a moment." "Why?" asked Naruto, confused. "Consider it hospital rules, family goes to visit first, okay? Besides, I want to talk to you about something for a bit." Neji, Hanabi, and Hana all walked to the room, while Naruto sat back down, Sakura beside him. "Naruto," she said, "I want to talk to you about Hinata. To be fair, I'm not sure how to say this, also it is not my place to do so, but I know," he muttered, "I know that she likes me, that she has feelings for me. I'd have to be absolutely blind not to see it. Hell, I noticed years ago. So you're not as dense as people think you are then. Well, if you know that, then you should also realize that it is not fair what you are doing to her. She likes you, possibly loves you, and you don't seem to have any feeling for her." "Why said that I have no feelings for her?" he asked softly. "I do, you know. She is a good friend and I do like her as well, but there are always reasons as to why I cannot go any further than that. Well, at least one last reason, one very big reason." He sighed. "Before I could not do anything as the Akatsuki were always after me and I could not willingly let her live through that with me. What if I got too close to her? What if they used her to get to me? I would not be able to live with myself if anything happened to her or any of my precious friends." "Then why are you still stalling, Naruto?" she asked. "Why do you still do nothing about it? The Akatsuki are gone, you saw to that. They will never use her to get to you anymore." Naruto rubbed his temples, slightly annoyed that Sakura still didn't get it. "I told you already, there is another reason, the reason inside of me. Because of the demon," she whispered. "Why?" He sighed deeply. "If anything is to ever happen, she would deserve to know, don't you think?" "Well, yeah, I guess so," Sakura answered. "So what happens when I tell her and she no longer looks at me the same way? A tear running down his cheek. What happens if she hates me for this thing that is in me?" Sakura smiled softly. "I think you give her far too little credit, Naruto. She does not strike me as someone who could ever hate anyone, so something that they had no choice in. I think that she will still understand." "But," he started to say. "No, Naruto, listen to me," she interrupted. "Not everyone hates you for that thing. I don't, Sasuke doesn't, and Kakashi-sensei doesn't, same for Shizune-chan and Tsunade-sama. And I am sure that Jiraiya-sama sure as hell didn't. Naruto, you have people that accept you for who you are. You are slowly changing the village's preconceived notion of you. More and more people respect you for the shinobi that you are. And if there is anyone who would truly accept you, it would be her." Naruto just stared at her dumbfounded, and then he smiled, truly smiled, not the mask that he has worn for so long. "You know, Sakura, that's why I love you, and I don't mean that way. You are like the perfect sister. Damn if you don't know just what to say." He looked to the door of Hinata's room and thought, now how the hell do I tell her? Naruto sat there for another half hour when Hinata's door opened and Neji, Hanabi and Hana walked out. Hana went up to him and said, "Hinata-chan said that she wanted to see you, sensei." Naruto got up, thankful that he could talk to her alone, still desperately thinking of how he could possibly say what he had to. He walked to the door and entered. Hinata was in the bed, half-lidded eyes staring at the ceiling. Her arms were bandaged and Naruto assumed there was more under the cover. An IV feed into her arm as Naruto approached. She looked over, her eyes opening fully. "Naruto, thank you for coming to see me," she said very softly. Naruto walked over and sat down in a chair at the side of the bed. "How are you?" he asked. "Better. Sir, anything you wanna talk about?" He asked. He didn't want to outright ask her what happened in case she didn't want to talk about it. But she would have to tell soon at some time, and still Naruto was curious. She smiled. Thanks for the concern, Naruto-kun, but right now is not the time to talk about what happened. I will tell you soon, but I am kind of tired. No problem, Hinata. He sighed. I was worried, and you're a good friend, you know. I'm sorry, Naruto, but it was not your fault. Yeah, and it was not yours either, so there is no need to apologize. I was just thinking out loud. He paused for a bit, thinking now was not the time, but soon. Look, Hinata, I wanna see you when you get out, okay? We should hang out. I want to talk to you about something. What's that, Naruto? Damn stutter. Sorry, Hinata, not really something that should be said carelessly, around others. When you get out, okay? He smiled, but I want to talk with you, and it seems we both have things to say, so I'll wait until you are better and out, okay? I'll come by and see you tomorrow. Sure. Okay, Naruto, thank you. At this, Sakura came into the room. Naruto, you have to go. She needs her rest. Give her until tomorrow morning and she will be fine and able to go, okay? Naruto stood up and noticed the slightly disappointed look on Hinata's face as he said, I was just about to leave, then turning back to Hinata, okay, well, I'll see you later, okay, Hinata. Hi, was all that Hinata said. Naruto left, and realizing that he had to still give a report to Tsunade on the team performance, swore softly and ran for the tower. When he got there, he recapped to the Hokage his feeling on the kid, summing it up that one is skilled much more so than he was at that age, and the other two seemed to understand teamwork, and considering the clans had access to the stores of the styles that they offered. Naruto continued that he would have to give the other two that did not get a Bella skills assessment, as he had not seen what they are capable of just yet. The next day, Naruto had them met on the training grounds again. As he approached, on time this time, he said to them, okay, well, today I've decided that I will give you a skill assessment, just to see what I am dealing with. Hi, Sensei, the three said. Now, Maita, he said, I think I have a fairly good idea about you. It seems that you have indeed earned this year's Rookie of the Year. You are very proficient with your genjutsu, and your chakra control is Chunin level at least. Your taijutsu needs some work, and I've yet to see ninjutsu, so we may have to work on that. Hi, said the genius simply. Now, Hana and Kemonoi, I am familiar with your clan's styles, having faced some from yours, but I'd like to see what you are versed with from your clans. Kemonoi, you go first. With that, Naruto made a ram seal and created his signature jutsu, the shadow clone. Kemonoi took this as a start and feed his dog a soldier pill. Kuromaru then jumped on his master's head, and Kemonoi called out, Beast Mimicry Jutsu. The small, black dog then transformed into a perfect replica of his master. Maita, seeing this, muttered, well, at least the dog has some talent. Shut your mouth, Maita team, or you'll find yourself on the wrong end of this attack. Yelled the dog ninja, and both dog and master jumped and spinning created a dual vortex aimed at the Naruto clone. Yelled, Fang over Fang. The clone jumped from the way in time. That was fast, it thought, feeling some of the pressure of the wind as the two passed harmlessly under him. But not as accurate as it could be. The clone landed back to the ground when the two beasts stopped the rotation and landed panting, facing the clone. Well, said the real Naruto, I see that technique take a lot out of you, and it could also do with better aim. I'm guessing, based on what I know of your clan, that your sense of smell, if not as sharp as it could be otherwise, you might not have missed. As I remember, you need to keep your eyes closed for that particular one and really on smell to find your target due to the speed or the rotation. Is that correct? Yes, Sensei, he replied. So then it seems that we need to work on your chakra control and sensory enhancement as well as your stamina, if that one use could wear you out like that. He finished as the boy was still panting. Okay, Hana, you're next then. The young Hyuga stood up and walked to the clone as the other sat back down, his dog now in its original state. The Naruto clone motioned for her to start, and the girl settled into the first Juken form. Your form is near flawless, Naruto commented. The girl began activating her Byakugan and leapt out at the clone, trying to strike his Tenjutsu points. The clone, however, dodged easily and was immediately in the girl's blind spot. She turned her head slightly and caught sight of him swinging her arm around again, aiming for the point near his heart. She was sidestepped and her arm was grabbed and pushed down, the two enhanced fingers striking the ground. That's enough, said the real Naruto. You have much potential, your chakra control is fantastic as well as your form. However, your speed can be improved on. It is true that you almost hit my major points twice even on a clone that is a quarter my power. That is impressive. I am assuming that you started your Juken training young, correct? Hi sensei, she said, it is customary in my clan to begin at the age of 4. Very well then you 3 are dismissed for the day. What? Already? Asked Kemianoi, you mean no training today? No, not today, I'm sorry, but I've got to work on your training regimens and customize to each of you what you need to improve on. He said, you will meet here tomorrow and I will go over that and then we will start. We will also start your missions after that. With that he turned to leave and disappeared from the clearing. On his way back home he remembered that he had told Hinata that he would be visiting that day and so made his way to the hospital. When he got there he was directed to her room. He knocked and was told to enter by a deep male voice. As he entered he found himself seeing Hinata talking with her father, hello Hinata and Hiyashi-sama. Hinata greeted him with a shy wave and her father simply nodded his head to Naruto. Turning back to his daughter he said, well I am happy that you are safe and impressed at how you handled yourself. I will see you at the compound. With that he stood to leave and stopping at Naruto said, Uzumaki, there is something that I wish to discuss with you. There is no hurry, come by the compound before that end of the week and we will discuss one of your new students. Good day. Naruto bowed to him as he left. Turning to Hinata he said grinning, noticing that she was clothed in her normal gear, so you being released? Yes Naruto-kun. You know that I promised that we'd hang out after you got back, he said. Care to go for a walk? That is if you are up to it. Hi, she said softly while a faint blush crossed her cheeks, I'd like that. Great, he said and grabbing her hand pulled her from the room and down to the desk for her to sign out. It took almost all of her willpower to keep from fainting when she realized that he was holding her hand. Anno, she said as 5 minutes later they were walking down the street, now her hand was not in his. What did my father mean by your new student before? Oh that. Well I thought your cousins might have told you last night. Neji, Shino and myself were assigned genin teams to train. Oh congratulations, she said smiling. Thanks, he said grinning, I think the new student he meant is your cousin, Hana, who was one of the genin given to my team. Oh okay, she said. Say Hinata, would you like to go somewhere private and talk? Oh okay. The two made their way to the Hokage monument where Naruto spent a lot of time sitting on his father's carved head thinking. Once they reached there Naruto sat down and motioned for her to do the same. He then spoke, Hinata, we have been friends for a while now, right? Yes, good friends I hope, she said and thought though she would have liked more. Well, he started slowly, friends share things with one another, right? And last night I said that I had something to tell you and if you wanted you could talk to me about what had happened on that mission. Okay, I can tell you, it is not a problem. She said sighing, it was a simple mission but what was unfortunate was my location and timing. The phrase, wrong place at the wrong time, comes to mind. She paused for a moment then said, I was heading back to the village when I happened across a group of hidden cloud ninja. You know the history with the Hyuga and the cloud. Naruto nodded and she continued, well I was ambushed simply because I happened to be a Hyuga in that location and they happened to be there as well. There were 5 of them high Chunin level at least and while I displaced them all the surprise caused some injury. I see, said Naruto, well I am proud of you. He went on happily. You took on 5 ninja in an ambush and beat them all back. I expected nothing better from you Hinata. But I was injured and hospitalized, she said. That doesn't matter, he said. In this line of business it is hard not to be. He smiled, don't think yourself weak. I know you are not weak, and you are a strong Konoichi. She smiled and blushed even more at his praise. Anno, what did you have to tell me then? This time his face became a bit sad just for a moment, he quickly mastered himself and turned to her, like I said before we are friends, right? I can trust you with anything. Of course you can. He sighed, it's now or never. He thought, how much do you know of the 4th Hokage? Your father. Yes. Well you know the story I'm sure of him fighting and defeating the demon Lord Kyubi the 9-tailed fox. Of course I do. What child grew up in this generation without hearing that story? She asked. Also thinking that Naruto must be real proud of his father for doing that even if he only found out that it was his father that was the Yonder Mine just a few years ago. Well it is true that he defeated him but it is not true that he killed him. You see, he said, pausing a moment, it is impossible for a demon lord to be killed by a mortal in a straight fight. Instead it had to be sealed. And the only thing that is powerful enough for seal a demon into is another living vessel. Where is he going with this? She wondered, starting to get worried as she saw a tear starting to form in his eye. A person, he continued, and not just any person, it has to be a newborn child with its umbilical cord freshly sealed. The chakra coils of a child that are not developed and can take the sealing of a demon like that much better than an adult who is fully developed, and the shock of the introduction of such a powerful being into that system would overload the system and that person would be destroyed. Only a child has flexile enough coils that can grow to adapt to its presence. He sighed of a moment, and Hinata was starting to realize what he was saying, but she did not interrupt him. She listened intently, taking it all in, and also realizing that this all made sense. He continued quickly, as though hoping it might hurt less to say it faster. I was born the day that the monster attacked this village, and my father, who I can understand now would never have someone else as their child if he would be unwilling to do it, used me as the vessel. Hinata, he said, tears flowing now, I am a Junkiriki, the demon container for the Kyubi, the nine-tailed demon lord. She was silent for a moment and then asked, why are you telling me this? He thought for a bit on it and replied, I need to know, am I accepted by others for me and not the demon itself? You see, there was a law made by the third that only Jonin and Haya would be made aware of this, and that no one would be able to speak of this without consent of the current Hokage of the host himself, me. Tsunade and I had a talk after I was made Chunin, in which she informed me of who my father was, that no more of the people who were made Jonin would be told of this. You see, it was common for the Jonin to be made aware of this when they were promoted, and we decided that it would be best if I chose who from then on would be the ones to know of it. He paused for a bit and looked up to the sky. There are those who know and accept me for who I am. Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura are a few of those, and I want to make sure that others would have a good chance of it when I picked who would know. At this, Hinata was shocked and she sat silent, possessing all that she had been told. Naruto was a demon host. Well, it all made sense in a way. As to why all the adults seemed to hate the little 12-year-old in the past. She always thought it could not have been for his pranks, those were mostly harmless and funny at most times, but it was this, they saw him as the demon himself and shunned him for that. Tears started to fall as she did something she never expected herself to do. She threw her arms around him and sobbed, I'm sorry, if I had known I would have been there for you much sooner. If I had known I could have helped you sooner. Naruto was shocked to say the least that she was being so forward and muttered through his own tears, thank you, Hinata. She was told and she still accepted him, she still saw him as the man he was and not the demon that is in him. And with that he said something that made her face turn bright red, there is something else I have realized, I see you have a good, no great heart, and Hinata, I love that about you. She pulled away from him for a moment and stared at him, red as all the bee rushed to her head and promptly fainted in his arms. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.